without working in a way. And so they are motivated because they get the contributions, of course.
Okay, great. Uh, so one more, no more questions, and I think I will also not ask any questions as we have approached the part that we have waited so long, yes, which is a lunch break, and let's have a lunch break until 13:50. So 150, so it's 45 minutes, and then let's come back to hear the three more presenters with good practices. And during the lunch break there will be seen the videos from also from partner countries related to the aspects of green infrastructure in these countries. So let's have a nice lunch break, and then let's come back in 45 minutes. Yeah, and it's at 13:50 Central European time. So have a nice lunch, everybody.
Everybody loves a beautiful nature reserve, floral meadow, bioswale and city park, and yet we don't often think about how green infrastructure offers us a wide range of benefits in an almost imperceptible way. Ecosystem services such as water purification, carbon storage, natural cooling and space to relax and be active in are invaluable to humans. They play a crucial role in improving our health, keeping our economy running and protecting us against climate change. And unlike most engineering interventions, green and blue spaces deliver all these benefits simultaneously, both in rural and urban areas.
Ecosysteemdiensten zijn heel belangrijk, voornamelijk in een stedelijke context, net omdat daar ook de vragers zijn van die ecosysteemdiensten. De meeste mensen wonen in een stad en zullen daar dan ook de meeste voordelen van ervaren als er bijvoorbeeld een boom staat die een omgeving mooi afkoelt, die extra water infiltreert, die voedsel brengt voor vogels, waardoor dat er een rijker ecosysteem ook in de stad kan ontstaan.
En Wallonie, c'est vraiment essentiel parce qu'on a encore un fort capital de biodiversité. Il est important à ce niveau-là de pouvoir garder l'équilibre des services écosystémiques dans le cadre de l'aménagement du territoire.
Binnen VLM doen wij inrichtingsprojecten. En dat is altijd het geval met verschillende stakeholders. En we hebben gemerkt dat door het gebruik van het concept van ecosysteemdiensten de polarisatie tussen de stakeholders kleiner is.
The Nature Value Explorer is a free online tool that reveals these benefits. In open spaces, it provides insight into the ecosystem services that green and blue spaces offer us and how they evolve with land use changes. In the city, the tool offers insight into countless benefits that green and blue measures bring us. What makes the Nature Value Explorer special is the ease with which you can calculate different plans.
À mon avis, il ne faut pas nécessairement des compétences scientifiques importantes, il faut avoir une bonne connaissance de son territoire. L'outil est très intuitif et on comprend très rapidement la logique de service qui découle des simulations.
Op vraag van de stad Brugge zijn we samen met Antea, een ingenieursbureau, gaan nadenken over de toekomst van de Kerkenbeek. Daar rond werd eigenlijk gevraagd hoe kunnen we het water terug deel laten uitmaken van de stad. Hoe kunnen we daar ecosysteemdiensten rond vinden?
Met de natuurwaardeverkenner kan je eigenlijk die effecten gaan evalueren door een huidig of een toekomstig ontwerp te gaan doorrekenen. En we hebben dus verschillende scenario's voor de Kerkenbeek opnieuw open te leggen, doorgerekend. En dan die één op één gaan vergelijken. Dus de natuurwaardeverkenner geeft je objectieve, kwantitatieve informatie van de effecten die een dergelijk scenario hebben. En daarom kan je dan gaan kijken hoeveel meer infiltratie je gaat verwezenlijken, hoeveel meer hittestress je zal gaan vermijden.
De natuurwaardeverkenner heeft ons geholpen om een aantal voor- en nadelen van keuzes te objectiveren. En op die manier sneller, denk ik, tot een beslissing te komen of een keuze te komen. En in die zin die natuurwaardeverkenner wel een goede tool kan zijn voor ontwerpers om meer bewust te zijn van de voor- of nadelen van bepaalde esthetische keuzes of ontwerpkeuzes.
Wij promoten de natuurwaardeverkenner bij andere projecten en stakeholders, omdat wij daar toch wel echt de voordelen van zien. Binnen VLM gebruiken wij de natuurwaardeverkenner op verschillende manieren. Voor sommige projecten gebruiken wij vooral de scenariovergelijking tussen voor- en na wijzigingen in landgebruik. Wij gebruiken die ook als een soort van communicatiemiddel om met onze stakeholders te kijken wat er gebeurt in projecten als je bepaalde beslissingen neemt.
Si on met de l'argent dans la restauration de la nature, est-ce qu'il y a un retour sur investissement? Donc c'est une question très précise à laquelle justement l'outil web que Vito a utilisé a permis de répondre concrètement en nous apportant des chiffres pour un cas concret.
We hebben dat laten berekenen voor het natuurgebied Demerbrugge. Uit het onderzoek is gebleken dat de aanwezigheid van dit natuurgebied voor enorm veel voordelen voor de omwonenden zorgt. Ten eerste zorgt het ervoor dat de mensen beschermd worden tegen overstromingen, omdat het gebied enorm veel water kan opvangen. Het zorgt voor een betere gezondheid, zowel mentaal als fysiek. En het zorgt ook voor meer recreatiemogelijkheden. De natuurherstelwerken hier in de Demerbruggen hebben ervoor gezorgd dat dit gebied jaarlijks opnieuw 4000 ton aan koolstof uit de lucht kan halen. En daarmee draagt het ook enorm bij aan de strijd tegen de klimaatverandering. Het voordeel van de natuurwaardeverkenner is dat het een tool is die het gemakkelijk maakt om aan te tonen dat natuurherstel niet alleen belangrijk is voor de natuur, maar ook heel veel voordelen biedt voor de maatschappij.
The tool is also used to train future bioengineers, ecologists, planners and architects.
Je donne un cours magistral relativement théorique sur la balance entre les enjeux économiques, les enjeux sociaux et les enjeux écologiques que l'on peut déduire des services écosystémiques. Et c'est au moment où on passe à la matérialisation et à l'utilisation de Nature Value Explorer que les étudiants se rendent réellement compte en fait qu'il y a de grandes différences en fonction des scénarios d'aménagement qu'on peut mettre en œuvre.
Feel good, I can't help but feel fine. Everything is in its place and everything is mine. Ooh, I can't help but smile. Ooh, I can't help but smile. Ooh, I can't help but smile.
Slovenci smo se razmeroma kmalu začeli zavedati, da je gozd ena pomembna dobrina in smo eden redkih narodov v Evropi, ki smo z gozdom nekako premišljeno upravljali in ga še danes na ta način tudi vzdržujemo.
Gozd je dejansko del slovenske identitete. Tudi, recimo, če tujec pride v Slovenijo, najprej opazi, da je Slovenija zelo gozdnata, da je zelo zelena in da je gozd največ prispeva k tem zelenju. Vemo, da 60% Slovenije da je gozdnate.
Gozd je bogat ekosistem, v katerem pa se v današnjem času pojavljajo nagle spremembe. Te spremembe največkrat posredno ali neposredno povzročamo ljudje, a gozdovi se vsem tem spremembam ne zmorejo prilagoditi. Poleg številnih pritiskov zaradi človeških dejavnosti in spreminjanja podnebja, naše gozdove ogrožajo tudi tujerodne vrste. To so vrste, ki pri nas niso prisotne od nekdaj in smo jih k nam namerno ali nenamerno zanesli iz tujih krajev. Okolje, v katerem živimo, se je oblikovalo in spreminjalo milijarde let. Nastali so ekosistemi, v katerih so vsa živa bitja, tudi človek, povezana in odvisna drugo od drugega. Ko se v okolju pojavi tujerodna vrsta, predstavlja motnjo. In domorodne vrste, ki se nanjo ne morejo prilagoditi, sčasoma izginejo. Ker so vrste v naravi v medsebojnem ravnovesju in povezane, lahko prihod tujerodne vrste sproži verižno reakcijo sprememb, ki porušijo delovanje ekosistema. Nekatere tujerodne vrste pri nas najdejo primerne pogoje in se v odsotnosti plenilcev ter bolezni začno uspešno širiti. Kmalu postanejo zelo številne in začno povzročati okoljsko ali gospodarsko škodo. Takrat govorimo o invazivnih tujerodnih vrstah. Preseljevanje rastlin in živali iz drugih okolij ni novodoben pojav. Večina kulturnih rastlin in domačih živali izvira iz drugih območij, predvsem iz Azije ter iz Južne in Severne Amerike. Te vrste pomembno prispevajo k naši blaginji. Čeprav le majhen delež tujerodnih vrst v novem okolju postane invaziven, zaradi obsežne svetovne trgovine število invazivnih tujerodnih vrst hitro narašča. S tem pa se večata tudi okoljska in gospodarska škoda. Invazivne tujerodne vrste dosežejo nova območja na različne načine. S transportom blaga, z embalažo, s prevoznimi sredstvi in s spontanim širjenjem iz sosednjih držav.
Svetovna trgovina se še vedno povečuje in tujerodne vrste k nam prihajajo praktično vsak dan. Težko je včasih biti pripravljen na nove tujerodne vrste, ker izmed množice vrst, ki se prenašajo nenamerno z trgovino, včasih niti ne vemo, katere so tiste nove vrste, ki šele prihajajo. Dostikrat smo pozorni na tiste vrste, ki povzročajo probleme v nekih drugih državah, ampak to pomeni, da so tam že mogle povzročiti probleme. Vnaprej pripravljeni na neke nove vrste pa smo v bistvu zelo težko.
Veliko invazivnih tujerodnih rastlin smo k nam prinesli kot okrasne vrtne rastline. Te vrste so običajno dobro prilagojene na naše podnebne razmere. Vrtna ograja zanje ni ovira, saj se lahko razširijo v naravo s semeni, ki jih raznašajo veter ali ptice. Ljudje jih pogosto zanesejo v naravo z ostanki rastlin z vrtov ali s prstjo.
Velika večina rastlinskih vrst, ki jih proglašamo za invazivne tujerodne vrste, je v bežnici z vrtov. Se pravi, so bile nekoč posajene na vrtovih parkih in pa drevoredih. Veliki pa jesen se širi ne samo v urbanem okolju, vse povsod po Ljubljani med asfaltom, betonom in tako naprej najde najmanjše razpoke, ampak ta vrsta se širi tudi v naravi, na kraških košenicah, kjer se opuščajo redna košnja in tam se ta vrsta postaja vse bolj konkurenčna in prerašča praktično vse domače vrste.
Zdaj smo v gozdu Panevec, kjer je že najmanj 50 let uspeva čokoladna akebija. Tole je značilen list, takle lističe so majhni in tvorijo take dlanaste liste. To je okrasna rastlina, ki se pri nas kar pogosto prodaja kot neka vrtna rastlina in v tem gozdu pa uspeva zdaj že v polnoranem habitatu in prekriva res veliko površino, takole se vzpenja po drevesih in seveda na ta način precej spreminja podobo gozda. Zdaj tukaj smo v nekem polnoranem gozdu, tako da okoljska škoda v tem primeru ni velika, seveda pa ne moramo vedeti, kakšna bo nadaljnja pot čokoladne akebije. Lahko se pač razširi postopoma od tu v druge gozdove, lahko da se bo pojavila tudi še na kakšnih drugih lokacijah, kjer bo šla ponovno iz vrtov.
Rečne brežine, prerasle z invazivnimi vrstami, so manj stabilne. Nadzemni deli številnih tujerodnih rastlin pozimi odmrejo in izpostavijo brežine deroči vodi, ki odnaša prst in jih tako spodjeda. Japonski dresnik je bil sprva zelo priljubljena okrasna rastlina. Zdaj pa se razrašča izjemno hitro, saj ima izredno sposobnost vegetativnega širjenja. Od pozne pomladi do pozne jeseni gosti sestoji povsem prekrivajo tla in onemogočajo rast domorodnim vrstam. Vzkliti ne morejo niti semena drevesnih vrst, zato se tak gozd ne pomlajuje več. Za oblikovanje novega sestoja je dovolj že košček korenike, ki ga prenesemo s prstjo ali delovnim strojem. Širi se tudi vzdolž vodotokov, tako kot tudi številne druge invazivne tujerodne vrste.
Katrs čempions reiz bija amatieris, kurš nepadevās. Reģistrējies Sinotip un saņem 270 bezriska griezienus. Esi kopā ar uzvarētājiem.
Žlezova nedotika se praktično pojavlja pri vseh vodotokih. Pri tako tekočih kot stoječih vodah, ob rekah se še posebej uspešno širi prav s temi semeni, ki odpadajo oziroma odmetavajo na ta način in potem se ta semena prenašajo z vodo, s poplavami in se seveda rastlina ukoreninijo.
Na tem območju je bil praktično ves gozd poškodovan in čeprav smreka niti ni bila tako zelo prizadeta zaradi žledoloma, pa je kasneje prišlo še do napada podlubnikov in zato so v zadnjih letih na tej površini vse smreko posekali. In seveda to je zdaj z vidika tujerodnih vrst, to pomeni, da so po eni strani se je odprla velika površina, ki omogoča novim vrstam, da zasedejo to odprto površino, po drugi strani pa tudi ta prisotnost gozdarske mekanizacije in pa prevažanje lesa seveda tudi prispeva k temu, da se širijo tujerodne rastline, namreč lahko so na kolesnicah, na lubju se pritrdijo kakšna semena in na ta način jih lahko zlahka zanesejo na druga območja. Tale rastlina je svečniški usad, precej velika, zelo opazna rastlina. Ni popolnoma znano, kako je ta rastlina prišla v naše kraje, zelo verjetno pa z nekim transportom blaga. Namreč prvo nahajališče je bilo v industrijski coni v Logatcu. In Slovenijo v zadnjih letih opažamo postopno širjenje In ravno to je razlog, da smo uvrstili na opozorilni seznam. Namreč to je ena tistih vrst, za katere je smiselno spremljati širjenje in potem se odločati o tem, kakšne ukrepe sprejeti, če se bo izkazalo, da se bo še naprej širila in da bo to širjenje šlo seveda tudi v neke naravne ali polnaravne habitate.
Bla 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 bla.
V Evropi žuželke predstavljajo skoraj četrtino invazivnih tujerodnih vrst na kopnem. Invazivne tujerodne žuželke nimajo plenilcev, ki bi uravnavali populacije. Kadar pa se hranijo z rastlinami, te nimajo mehanizmov za obrambo pred njimi.
We're now here at the parking place where we found the oak lacebuck. Probably the animal came to this place via hitchhiking. They came into the car in Croatia. People were driving for 100 kilometers and rested over here, stepped out, and they could fall on the ground and came onto the trees and now are making a lot of damage on the trees over here. The whole tree will become yellowish and this you could easily see from satellite pictures.
Večina žuželk dobro leta, kar jim omogoča hitro širjenje. Številne imajo kratke življenjske cikle, zato lahko v kratkem času oblikujejo velike populacije.
Asian longhorn beetle is not yet in Europe, but is once in a while found with wood package material. When it's found, it's straight away eradicated, and so it is not yet established.
Za iskanje škodljivcev v lesu, ki lahko povzročijo tudi veliko gospodarsko škodo, so pred leti v Avstriji začeli uriti pse. Številne žuželke imajo namreč specifičen vonj in tako so pse naučili, da v lesu in lesnih izdelkih iščejo ličinke kitajskih kozličkov.
To our experiences, dog team needs 1 to 1.5 years to be very well experienced in several different situations, so that they can work well and with a good continuous level. The confidence from the dog handler to the dogs is improving, and step by step they can work more and more by themselves. It's not a short way, it's a long way.
It's very important.
Vrsta se seveda lahko razširi iz neke sosednje države. Slovenija je, kar se tega tiče, precej na prepihu, zato ker imamo ravninske dele iz vseh sosednjih držav, iz Hrvaške, iz Italije, iz Madžarske so ti ravninski predeli, po katerih lahko tujerodne vrste kar hitro prehajajo. In še posebej, kadar govorimo o žuželkah in o glivah, ki se lahko hitro selijo na dolge razdalje, je ta, se pravi, spontano širjenje, rečemo temu načinu vnosa, je lahko to kar bistven faktor.
Maiņas autokrāsa nav sīkums. Tev nepatīk nomas auto? Tad kompensēsim taksometru.
Za razliko od drugih tujerodnih vrst se glive širijo s sporami po zraku, česar s človeškim očesom ne vidimo. Opazimo šele škodo, ki jo v gozdu povzročijo.
Javelj rak je precej razširjen po Evropi že, ampak je relativno redka bolezen. Tako smo pri nas v Sloveniji najdeli okoli 300 rakavih ran, ki jih povzroča gliva eutipela parazitika. Iz teh trosišč črnih na površini rakave rane oblikuje več kot milijardo trosov na uro. Zato bi bilo vsak rak, ki ga najdemo, zelo ustrezno čim prej posekati in deblo pustiti v gozdu, s tem, da ga obrnemo navzdol, da se trosi ne morejo širiti. V obratnem primeru bi ta rak oblikoval svoje trose še nadaljnjih 10, 20, 30 let, kolikor časa bo to drevo še živelo in dokler ga ne bo, sneg ali pa veter podrl. Zelo redke glive, tujerodne, so prinešene, da so tele velike normalne gobe, kot jih poznamo. Nekaj jih sicer imamo, lovkasta mrežnica, recimo Anturus archeri, ta je večja, lepa, jo vidimo na gozdnih tleh, vse ostale, ali pa večina, so pa mikroskopsko majhne. In evo, tukaj je ena, ki je prišla okoli leta 1904 v Evropo, hrastova pepelovka. To vidimo danes povsod po Sloveniji na hrastih, predvsem na Dobu, in povzroča takole belo prevleko listov. Kaj vidimo od gobe? Nič drugega, kot samo to belo prevleko, ampak gor na tej beli prevleki oblikuje tisoče trosov in se z njimi širi po hrastovih listih.
Bla, 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 bla. Oh. Oh.
Nove tujerodne vrste so takoj po naselitvi maloštevilne, a pojavijo se lahko kjerkoli. Orjaški dežen je azijska rastlina, v iskanje katere se je javnost v zadnjih letih že vključevala. Ta vrsta je marsikje po Evropi prerasla velike površine in poleg narave ogroža tudi ljudi, saj ima strupen rastlinski sok. Prav na podlagi opažanj, ki so jih posredovali strokovnjaki in zainteresirana javnost, orjaški dežen v Sloveniji zdaj že nekaj let uspešno zatirajo in so na dobri poti, da ga tudi izkoreninijo.
Košnja pri orjaškem deželu ni učinkovita, rastline zelo hitro nazaj odženejo, zato jih moramo izkopati s čim večjim delom korenike. Zdaj v tujini dostikrat uporabljajo tudi herbicide, pri nas se tega še nismo posluževali, ker gre vseeno za, recimo tukaj, kjer zdaj ocenjujemo, je Karinski park.
Ker tujerodne vrste prehajajo med evropskimi državami, je zelo pomembno sodelovanje strokovnjakov z tega področja, ki si izmenjujejo podatke in izkušnje. Zato so v projektu Life Artemis razvili sistem zgodnjega obveščanja in hitrega odzivanja, ZOHO. Za delovanje tega sistema je nujno sporočanje opažanj s terena. Na terenu mora biti veliko ljudi, ki bodo vrste zaznali in jih sporočili v sistem. Lastniki gozdov, strokovnjaki, raziskovalci, rekreativci, vsi ljudje, ki hodijo v naravo, so pri tem pomembni in lahko bistveno prispevajo k pravočasnemu ukrepanju. Zato smo razvili spletno in mobilno aplikacijo Invazivke. Dostopna je tudi registriranim prostovoljnim uporabnikom.
Tak sistem vključevanja javnosti v zbiranje podatkov se lahko gremo samo, če javnost tudi na nek način izobrazimo. Ker drugače se izgubljamo v gori nepravilnih podatkov in tudi zato sem zelo vesela, da imamo danes tak sistem, super aplikacijo, ki omogoča to, da mi takoj dobimo podatek s fotografijo. Ker pri prejšnjem sistemu je seveda bilo, da smo potem dobili fotografije, pa so mogli ljudi nazaj slikati, pa nismo dobili fotografije, smo se pol po opisu pogovarjali.
Uporaba je zelo preprosta. Podatek o tujerodni vrsti in fotografije lahko posredujete le z nekaj kliki. Izvedenci za posamezne skupine organizmov podatke resno preverijo in na to ukrepajo.
Če se izkaže, da bi bila vrsta interesantna, se pravi, da bi se pojavil naprej kucu, da je sum na neko zelo problematično vrsto, bi šli potem tudi na teren in bi poskušali tudi reagirati.
Opazuj, sporoči in pomagaj varovati gozd. S tem bomo preprečili širjenje in zmanjšali negativne vplive invazivnih tujerodnih vrst.
Okay, it's 1:50, 13:50 Central European time, and hopefully you have had a nice lunch break. And let's continue with our agenda. And next, I would like to introduce you to the Martin de Groot from Slovenian Forestry Institute, and the good practice that will be presented will be the live Artemis awareness training and measures on invasive alien species in forests. So, as I see, the screen is already being shared. So, Martin, please, the floor is yours.
Sorry, I will. Good morning. Yes, my name is Maarten de Groot. I'm just trying to share again. Do you all see the screen?
Yes, we do. Yes,
Okay,
the
thank you very
presentation
much.
is seen.
So I am presenting the good practice of live Artemis awareness raising training measures and on invasive alien species in forest, which was done from 2016 till 2020 by four different organizations, among them Slovenian Forestry Institute, Slovenia Forest Service, Nature Conservation Institute, and Zavod Symbiosis. So let's start with the forests. Forests are a really important ecosystem because they also have different ecosystem services. First of all, important for wood production, biodiversity, recreation, of course, and non-woody forest products. A lot of people in Slovenia are going into the forest to get some blueberries or mushrooms. Slovenian forests are huge. It is 1.2 million hectares, which is almost 60% of Slovenian area. The ownership is approximately 75% for private owners. A state-owned forest is 22%, and the rest are local communities. And number of forest properties is 314,000, which with even more forest owners. So management of the forest is actually quite difficult if you're logistically seen. However, so many forest owners might also be an advantage, as we will show you later in this presentation. So invasive species, as you can see, is of here, of all the problematic causes for nature, I think it's the sixth most problematic cause for nature conservation in Europe. It is so invasive alien species. The species we focused in our project were insects, plants, and mammals and fungi. They are coming via different ways into Slovenia. So first of all, from the other countries, but also via distribution areas within Ljubljana or our only harbor in Koper. Wait, what happens? So the population biology is like this, that you often see that animal is coming in, may have small populations, and then later on is very easily noticed because it spreads all over the place and is very abundant. It's only 15% of the species which are actually coming into your country that are into Europe, which become really invasive. So that is something. But if you have such a species, the best time to actually focus on management is when they are have small populations and therefore easy to fight. And therefore you need a lot of awareness. So you need a lot of eyes in the field that you can actually work on something, that you can discover them, and then you can eradicate the population. In Slovenia, we have, or in Europe actually, we have two types of legislation for the forests, which first one is the EU plant health legislation, more focused on agricultural and forest pests, while the EU IS legislation is more about the other invasive alien species, so plants, insects which are not pests, etc., etc. So this is the cadre where we were actually building our project on. So our project had as a goal to contribute to the reduction of harmful impacts of invasive alien species on biodiversity by increasing public awareness and by setting up an effective early warning and rapid response framework for invasive alien species in forests. We did that like this by preparing first preparatory actions, then core actions, and of course we monitored our actions. So we first prepared a communication plan. We established the early warning and rapid response institutional framework, then developed a training program, and then when that was over, we prepared a national awareness raising campaign on invasive alien species, and also started on basis of that an early warning and rapid response training of professionals and volunteers. In that, we engaged citizen scientists, so we prepared an information system, and to see if this was working, we had two case studies, one based on an area and looked on it, and one based on one species. We monitored this We of course monitor the trends and the public attitudes towards invasive alien species, and we evaluated the effectiveness of the early warning and rapid response system. We started our travel in these 4 years with preparing an alert list. The alert list was a list of species that were not occurring yet in Slovenia, or were in small population and still were able to be eradicated. From this, we said 61 plant species, 26 insect species, 20 fungi species, and 1 Phytophthora species were checked for this list, which was mainly focused in the forest. So we had an alert list, and then we also have the observation list, which meant that these are species that were more common, but when people are going into the field and they don't find species on the alert list, and that were a lot because they are very rare, that the people were still able to find something. So the motivation to go into the field would still be there. So the challenges of making this was when making this list, there was no publicly available list. So we had to do it from scratch. We had to make an horizon scan for species for the alert list. And the question, of course, if we're working with citizen scientists, what species should be included? So that you couldn't put in only fungi because it was very difficult to recognize, and even often you need to do laboratory work. So more recognizable species were on that list in this case for the citizen scientists. After that, we started a whole training round of trainings and awareness raising and educations. So we had a lot of workshops all over the country for the Slovenian Forest Service, for volunteers, and we had presentations why it is important, also involving the information system which we developed, and about recognizing different species. We also made a very nice book in Slovene, and which was later still translated by the via Cost Action, Alien CSI. But the challenges was that doing this workshop, that certain stakeholders were not attending or were difficult to persuade. Still, we tried to get to them by attending the stakeholders, their annual assemblies, and having the presentation over there, so that the information still came to them. We had to go to them instead of that they would came to us. It took therefore also a lot of effort in awareness raising and education. And yeah, so that is, if we're starting with such awareness raising campaign or awareness raising, this is the most important, crucial part for effective early warning and rapid response system. Advice we had also there was needed for not regulated potential invasive alien species, because it was by law not necessary to do something against it, but of course it was very obvious in the forest. Another one was that there was a lot of questions about economical interesting species like Polonia tomentosa. Then we prepared an information system called Invasiuka. It's still available on the web, and you can download it via Google Play on your telephone. In the time we had our project, we had 267 participants, and in total 12,280 observations. And if you see the distribution on the right, you see that there are a few really having a lot of observations, while there were a lot of observers which were doing only a few observations. So that is really important information. So challenges here is like, how did you keep the people active? Because the moment you have an action, people start to give you information, but after a few weeks, it already stops. Another thing is like the distribution of observers. So if you are very active, many only put a few data in it. And I think you should continue to get this few data because there is a lot of information coming from them, but cherish the few which are very active because there are often a lot of information, the species coming from the alert list. Certain taxa are more popular than others. Not all Slovenia was equally covered. And how do we know that alert list species are not there if there is no observations? Questions is because very relevant questions, and these are biases which we should take into account when we are continuing an early warning and rapid response system, and we're doing monitoring. We took, for the last one, we took the species from the observation list so that we could see that people were going in that direction and then assumed that they would not also find this alert list species. For the species-specific action, as we already said before, was we used Eutepella parasitica, the canker of maple, which is caused by this fungi, Eutepella parasitica. On the right side, you have the tree with the canker in it. And we found, we had a lot of observations, as you see. In the beginning, we had really not a lot. And then now, later on, we had a lot of observations, which was very, very good result as far as I see it. Challenges was that it was an unknown species, so we had to put a lot of effort in it, in awareness raising, in education, how to recognize it. It was difficult to recognize by the general public, but because the species, we have to check via the app Invasielke via photo if it's correct or not. We could say like, okay, this is this species or not. Another thing was a problem was that the monitoring methods for this species were not yet tested, and we tried to test it during this project. The other one, it's the area-specific action of the landscape park, Tivoli, Rožnik, and Šiškenski Hrib in Ljubljana. It's behind the institute where I'm working, and we were doing there first an inventory of plants, alien plant species, and we made a kind of priority list out of it. And these prioritized species, which were highly invasive, but not, they were still, we were still able to eradicate them. We were targeting them the next years for eradications. So we can see over here, we had a lot of people coming. Challenges here again, it was increasing knowledge for species which will be monitored, attracting volunteers for eradication actions. So we had to also contact schools. We had to put a lot of efforts in it so that people came to these actions. And we had to find out eradication methods will be useful for citizen scientists. So no methods like using of herbicides or pesticides. Yeah, so that was actually the outcome, and I will now show you some side products which just by accident came at that time. So just that time, the same year, we found for the first time the oak lacebuck. And in this project, we focused also on that species, and we could nicely see the spread during this year during this year's how this species is all going to conquer all of Slovenia. And now, on basis of that, we made a distribution model from the oak lace bark, as you can see over here. Another thing is that was actually one of our outputs is that we prepared a lot of policy tools. So we prepared a platform for ARS management activities. We prepared a proposal for an early warning and rapid response system. We made 5 proposals for rapid response plans. And where I'm quite proud of is like that for the yellow-legged hornet, the plan for that one was used for the official contingency plan in Slovenia. So yeah, this is one of the outputs of this project. Then how to evaluate the effectiveness of the early warning and rapid response system. So actually in the beginning we thought like, okay, we take an XY species, which is not yet here, and we will do some dry run. But then during the project, one of our citizen scientists found kudzu, one species on the IAS legislation, European Union legislation. And so we had a real case scenario. So we had, on basis of this, we made a rapid response plan workshop. We showed how to the people, to the managers, how to deal with it. And we managed this species. So we eradicated this species from this particular location. We also monitored the project feasibility and trends in public towards attitudes for the invasive alien species. And on the question, have you ever heard about removing invasive alien species? That was in 2017. 49%, yes, I heard about it. But then in 2018, after a lot of awareness raising, yeah, more and more people heard about it. So actually 66% heard about it. Same is actually about early warning and rapid response system. Although there were already a high percentage, an even higher percentage would support the application of an early warning and rapid response system. We had a lot of international collaboration. So we made a network of experts in the surrounding countries. So with Slovenia and Hungary, Italy, Croatia, and Austria. We had a lot of networking. So a spillover of from our project to other projects, and we learned from other projects to develop our project. And then we presented also on the platform meeting on invasive alien species. In 2019, we had an international conference on early warning and rapid response system. Was in the end of 2019. I was really happy that we did it that time because, in 2020, it would logistically be much more problematic to organize anything. We had 104 participants and 17 countries. We prepared a book of abstracts, and we had a special issue where we had different publications in it. So lessons learned. System works. Many alert list species were reported. Thing is, many participants have only a few records. A few are very active. So on which group to focus? People who are most active find the most important species. So actually, I think both are very important to focus on. Investing a lot of time in awareness raising and education. Citizen science, for instance, is not only developing an app and say like, okay, here it is, people should use it. No, you then have to still put a lot of time in awareness raising. Species-specific actions are important, and also a lot of these actions if you want to have a lot of data. However, there is a bias in taxonomy, so we will need to have help from expert surveyors who then with them you would then cover the whole of Slovenia, for instance. We prepared policy tools and we collaborated with countries outside Slovenia. And we had, I think, we still collaborate a lot with the people within the consortium. Invasilka, for instance, is still active and we get a lot of information from it. So I think all in all, this project was very highly successful, and we came to a really nice output and helped to develop the early warning and rapid response system of alien invasive species in Slovenia. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Martin. Virtual round of applause for you. Do we have any questions to Martin about the presentation? Okay, I don't see the hands. Oh, there is one. Anna, please.
Me again. Really impressive project. I thought about your problem with when you don't have any sightings of a species, you don't know if anybody has been there or they have been there but not seen anything. In the Swedish species portal, you could, at least in some cases, make a contribution, says, I've been here, I've been looking for this species, but I did not find it. Have you thought about something like that? I don't know how popular that would be, but if you're going out to look for alien species, people might want to contribute that too. I don't know.
I think, yeah, this is a way how to say, like, okay, it is you could put that in your app. But the problem is then the motivation of the citizen scientists. So they do not find anything, and the motivation drops rapidly. There is a very nice action in Observatory, which is in Great Britain, and they have adopted tree. So a person need to check every month, for instance, your tree and see if it's something in there. It can be a tree in your garden or something like this, but you actually make a bond with the tree, so people anyway go there and just check if there's something on it. So and then they can say it's negative or positive, or there is a species on it or not.
That's also a good idea. We also have in one of the apps that you can, if you're looking for, say, dragonflies, and you report all the dragonflies you see, and then you can click in a box that says, these are all I have seen out of this list of dragonflies. You would be able to do the same here. We have this list of species. I've been out looking for alien species. I've seen these two. And then you know you haven't seen the other ones.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks.
But really good work. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Anna, for the questions and Martin for the answers. Are there anybody else who wants to ask the question? Okay, if there are not, then thank you very much, Martin, for the great presentation and the answers. And we will give the word next to Jurica Ambrožić from city of Zagreb, from Croatia. And he will be introducing us with a good practice called the City Windows to Nature, improving urban biodiversity and developing green infrastructure. Jurica, please, the floor is yours.
Hello. Now, first, do you see the presentation?
Yes, we do right now. Maybe in the full screen mode, it would be better, like in presentation mode.
I have the whole day the problem with it's a brand new computer PC, so it's maybe not ideally, but I'm not sure that it's wise to put something because we can then broke the line. If this is okay, I would love to do
Okay.
it that way.
Okay,
It's new technique. Sorry.
No problem. We can see it. If you feel more comfortable in this way, it's up to you. So please.
Well, I'm not sure what can happen if I start to put something because yesterday the guys changed my PC, so I'm not familiar with the new one.
It's no problem. It's no problem. We can see quite good right now. Yeah.
Okay. First, thanks for inviting me and thanks for giving me opportunity to speak about this project. This is a project which we implemented, so it's over a few years ago. And this is maybe something what, just for brief information, it cost was 4.6 million euros. It was funded by the city of Zagreb and the EU. And it started in 2018, finished in 2023. We have delayed 1 year because, as you all can assume, in 2020 we have some spectacular situation here. After pandemia, we have in the Zagreb earthquake, and at the end of the year it was earthquake in Petrinja, which is maybe 50-60 kilometers from Zagreb. So it was quite, I would say, challenging times. The project was financed from the call promoting sustainable development of natural heritage. And we start to prepare this project in the late 2016, beginning on 2017. So it was prepared in some, let's say, pre-pandemic time. And of course, we in 2017 have some national elections. So evaluation was a little bit longer than expected. And at the end, we started 1 year of the project in normal term, and after that, it started to happen what happened, and that's delays. Of course, when we apply with this project, green infrastructure was not maybe as popular as today, but as we working in Park Maksimir mostly, which is protected area by the law from protection of nature and cultural heritage, it is quite hard to get any permissions for any infrastructure building or working there, because it's one of the most elite parts in the city, and it is quite under observation, not just from authorities, but from the citizens. This is the general objective of the project and specific some objectives. Of course, it was very big project, which include a lot of different parts, from infrastructure to education, biodiversity preservation. You have invasive species removal as a significant part, IT implementation in the Park Maksimir, including some new services, because if I can just remember, the topic of the call was promoting sustainable development. So it was not just the green infrastructure as green infrastructure, but also how the results of the project will be preserved at the end, and at the end bring some benefit for public institution, which was, and the city which are giving this project. City of Zagreb is just about 800,000 people, and we have a quite big number of protected areas in Zagreb, and people in Zagreb are used to have a quite big amount of greenery, and I must say that the citizens are quite, how to say it politely, they are very interesting in well-being of greenery. They are usually have a big questions and problems if you do something which they think is not right. So that's the reason why you should always think about the reaction of public. While we were preparing the project, these were the components of the project. Of course, the most costly was infrastructure, but of course we put some elements like revitalization of natural assets, cultural property. Then we put a lot of effort and a lot of things were done in implementation of, I would say, some educational system and tools for education of the kids, students, because we think that in long term, the success will be if we manage to, let's say, produce or to educate or to make future citizens which will be aware of needed for have a green solution and benefits that will brings to them. Through this project, of course, we built mostly some capacities in institutions which are involved. And of course, part of the project was promotion of destination, which is also connected with Paul, who at the end needs to show that this project will be at the end sustainable. And of course, you have to have the system of project management. So when you put this project on the map, this part here is, you have the names here, what's the name and what is going on here. But this part is in a Park Maximir, which is under the supervision of public institution Maximir. Today's nature of city of Zagreb, they changed the name. And this part here is in the Zoo Zagreb. So if you see all the slides, the topic here was mostly the lakes, first and second lake in the Park Maximum, because the border is on the shore of the lake. So when we put just the long-term impact of the project, I would say the first thing was construction, then preservation, then education. Construction was something what we have to do because these lakes were 100 years old and they were few times, 3 or 4 times in these 100 years cleaned, nothing else. So we have quite big problems, not problems, but we have to do something because we have to keep it for our ancestors. When we're talking about preservation, we, of course, want and decide that Park Maximir, where mostly we make a lot of effort, will have to be, let's say, sacrificed in a way, because we will put some other things inside which citizens want. But on the other hand, we make some things in the Savica area, which is much more wild. And we decided not to put anything there because we would like to make some wildlife areas in the city. And of course, education is something what is very important because building of the future, it's investing in the future. When we speak about infrastructure, there was 5 buildings with a building permit and 2 with other kind of permits. And we put some visitor counters in Maximir and in Savica. That was very important because that was for the first time that we move from estimates to some precise or better numbers to know how many people are in the park, how many people are using, when they are using. So a lot of things can be done that way. Next thing, which is very important, was the development of some expert bases. I would say it's different kind of studies. It was 8 type of studies which was made from different professions, different points of view, and all of them are mostly working with Maksimir and some with Savica. And why is it important? Because this is some tools or some backgrounds for next decisions how to run this very nice and very special places in a city. Of course, we make some material requisition also for protecting, especially Maksimir, because we rebuilt or opened the new urban biodiversity center, not just as a building, but also with a lot of equipment. So we start to monitor the space and environment condition in park. And of course, this is necessary for any long-term or short-term decision making and for having some measures or resolving some situation which are not maybe the usual. Of course, we a lot of things, especially with education part, create new contents and values. When I say this, it's not just new jobs. It's just that we some parts decide to develop which students are using, because in Urban Biodiversity Center you have small lab where students from biology and forestry come on a practical, how to say, part of their education. We bought a special vehicle for disabilities, for people with disabilities. And of course, a lot of things put on a nature conservation and removal of alien species. When I say all these structures can now be put on a smaller and smaller parts, but when we say about infrastructure results, we, I would say, built a lot of new things which people or users of Park Maximus were very happy to have. We also introduce IT technology, which is quite, I would say, today for younger generation normal. And during this project, we put in Savica in Maksimir about 3,000 trees and about 5,000 various plants in different these parts, which is, I mean, a very big number. And to be honest, this is going on, and I think this is maybe some of nicest results from my point of view, because the kids which were doing this now are older, and for them is normal, and I hope that this will go on. We reconstructed 2 lakes. This is and historical elements were returned to the park, and this was quite a demanding task. And I would say when we finished the infrastructure, that was quite challenging, because we were working not just in pandemic time and earthquake time. It was also a problem to get a lot of materials because the chains of supplies were broken. So that's the reason why we, at the end, were late about 1 year before we planned to finish in the end of 2022. So we finished the end of 2023. We introduced 18 new programs related to green infrastructure and nature protection. For example, this year we have only in Park Maksimir about, in public institution, I think, over 14,000 participants. And when we compare that number with the numbers before the project, it's increase of over 60%. In these programs, we don't put the numbers which are on the similar program in the Zoo Zagreb, where we have about 20,000 participants a year. And of course, one of the things which is also very important to say, that with the visibility of the project, and the visibility was pretty big, that this team was quite, how to say, in the media, and there was a lot of interest in this. So after we monitored the number of visitors, last year we have about 2.5 million people. This year it's 2,350,000 people in the park this year. And I think that this number shows how the interest is big, but also how big pressure is need to be managed properly. Here is some list of the programs that were developed during the project. I think that most interesting is that in these programs, they were produced by our internal forces and some experts from a side, because all these programs are, how to say, scaled according to knowledge of the kids, students, whatever is target group. So it's not just one program, it's accommodate for different type of groups and knowledge. When we say about professional, how to say, documents or studies or experts analysis which were made, here are the number and the names, and they all together give the good picture. And what is important, since they were working in the same time, a lot of different professions were sitting together. So it was observed from many different points of view, not just, for example, as a biologist or geographers or lawyers, because we have studies connected to the ownership, for example. This is a big problem. So this gives some, I think, extra values in this kind of work. And of course, you can imagine how interesting was having workshops in pandemic times. So everything was at the end give the result and everything is made, but it was really, how to say, interesting time. When we were preparing the project, we have in mind a center which will be, how to say, a hub for monitoring and implementing and maybe learning about biodiversity in urban areas, because this is at the end something what is needed for proper decisions to be made in the future. And this is not just a tool for a public institution which runs it, but also it helps and local authorities. But to be honest, university, non-governmental organization, and national or local, whatever institutions, they are really glad to come there and to find and seek some solutions because they have a real datas. At the end, this type of project needs to be sustainable, not just in natural way. So we, at the end, open new jobs for in public institution nature of Zagreb. Two of them are for education purposes, and one person is for IT. And we have new jobs in private sector because when we build some new facilities on the lake, we have to, according to the law, find some private company that will run. This is something what is now done. It's all according to the Croatian national law. So now we have their new value, not just in place and in service for citizen, but also have people who are now earning their paycheck. And this calculation is after we visited the project. During the project, approximately, we have 400 people who were working on this project through all kind of firms, from builders to the universities, people who were for visibility, etc. So all kind of different professions were contracted, and when we start to count, it's about 400 people. During the project, we encountered an invasive alien species, so we made some special parts of the project. On Savica, we removed a lot of Japanese knotweed. And of course, when we start the cleaning of the lakes, we have to empty the water. Of course, there was a lot of fishes, turtles, and shellfish. So about 500 kilo of fishes were removed. And when I say removed, these are the fishes, not the indigenous one, but the fishes like carp, which were given to our helping hands of the fishing clubs, and some few hundred kilos of invasive species which were not allowed to move in the water were used in a zoo as a food. About 150 red-eared turtles, it's from America, they were removed from all part of the Maximir in the first lake after we finished this building and construction works. So today the turtles are there because we registered this first lake as a place for this invasive species. Of course, this is how it looks part of this in Savica when we start to remove. This is, of course, our turtles in a lake. And after we finish the work, we remove 4 type of species of fish which are no longer in a Maximir. In future, we will see what will happen, but now these invasive species are out. When we talk about implementation capacities, 15 people were involved in the project team, and from 3 institutions, City of Zagreb, Zagreb Zoo, and Zagreb Public Institute. And we have as a partners 3 non-governmental organization. Biome is an organization which is connected with mostly birds. Vjetar u leđa was or is an NGO which is tackle the kids, and Croatian Association of Deaf and Blind People were partners, and they work with some people, some educators in Maksimir and in Zoo, and they were trying to, our people in Zoo and Maksimir tried to learn the language, the sign language, because we hope, and this did happen, that some people with this problem came, so that you can run them through the Zoom. At the end, I would say the benefit is first that we really develop some green infrastructure and we promote the urban biodiversity. We develop and we have now planning documents. We really make a big step forward in education in Park Maksimir. Construction activities, of course, very notable, because now for next 50 years, I hope nobody will have any problems after keeping the first and the second lake in it's okay now. They will probably in 20-25 years need to be again just empty and to put the silt out, but the site and the building, the lakes will be okay. Center for Urban Biodiversity, I think it's for the first time made in Zagreb or in area, in region, and it started to work. So I think that this is something what we only hear that is okay, and people like to come there. We all, I think, have some new knowledges and strength, some capacities. And I would like to point that the green infrastructure need, and when you develop this kind of project, ask to take account different points of view. So I mean that the multidisciplinary approach is needed if you want to have success. At the end, I think that the citizens of Zagreb gave us the good, how to say, rate, because we protect and preserve some natural and historical values of the city. And I hope that this is one of the projects that will be, how to say, in future be on the some other sites made. Of course, when we speak about the challenges, you know, all the bad things people would like to forget. So I really did not want to put that slide and to say what the problem was, but I think that you've got the point that we really work and prepare the project in a world before pandemia. We worked through the worst part of the pandemia, and to have this kind of building sites and not allow the people to contact each other is quite, I would say, challenging. And in the end, nobody from either of us or either institution was ready to work from home. That was something what we really didn't have a, how to say, we really didn't have a option to do that, and sometimes even knowledge. And of course, I must say here that some colleagues which were working on the project have the private problems, because some of them during the earthquake stayed without their properties, and they have to be moved out, and etc. So it was quite, I would say, challenging. But in the end, we managed with success to come to the end. And I hope when you will come to Zagreb, if you come, please come and see what we done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jurica. Virtual round of applause for you. And I can see that Andrei Verlich has raised the hand. And please, Andrei, you can ask the question.
Jurica, thank you for sharing your experience with us, with everything you have done in that project. Of course, taking into account the period during which you were working on this project, I was wondering, were there any, let's say, challenges with visitors and other citizens when you were removing animals from the water? Invasive animals, but still animals. Have you encountered any questions? What will happen with these animals and so on?
Yeah, that's excellent question, and we expect that this will be open question because we really have a good preparation for that. How to say? The communication is here most important. The problem with visitors is, of course, not just with animals, but visitors want to see. They see that something is going on, and they want to see what's going on. While we let's say 1 week, 7 days, we have to. That was how long we needed to remove all the fishes in 2 lakes, approximately. And of course, people were walking around and looking what we are doing, but we have prepared, these small trucks with small pools with aeration. So the fishes were transferred. The transfer of the fishes was these autochthon parts were removed to other lakes, and this was clearly communicated. And some old ladies, I mean, they were old, wanted to see how it's done. So the guys from our contractor just put them in the truck and go with them, and they will really see that we are returning the fish. The other part, we sent the fishes with one of the fishing club, so they have some lake near Zagreb, because they were helping. It's quite a big job to put all the fish alive. I mean, both lakes are 2.5 hectares approximately big, so it's quite big challenge. And this was done by the fishermen, so they were put everything on the Facebook, because for them, when someone give you, I don't know, maybe 500-600 kilos of really good fish, they were very happy about that. And of course, we have some 200-400 kilos of these fishes which we are not allowed to remove, so we put them in the zoo as food. But people saw that we take care about animals. The other big question was the turtles, because we have turtles there. And to be honest, we didn't have any problem with this. People saw we were not doing, under the cover of the dark and now pretending this is not going to. No, we have to do it because we have to do it. Sorry. And we didn't have in this term problem, but we have a problem with some other things, because when we empty the bottom of the lake, there is a lot of silt. So people, when they saw it, for them that was nice. And on one Sunday, in the morning, I was walking around and I saw the lady came with a pair of kids to play in this silt. And of course, the bottom of the lake is from 1.5 meter to 4 meter. So I think that was quite scary, because you cannot protect everything. I mean, you put the everything under the fences, but people are see something, and I don't know what they were hoping that they will find in the silt. Yeah. So that was, for example, problem. And the problem is that in zoo, we usually think, we have a construction works, the people will not come. And that's not true. People are usually coming, and then they want to see what is going on. And of course, the building side and a lot of people on the same space can be tricky. I would say this is one of the problems when you are working in this kind of environment. And the second, I would say, problem when you work, but we didn't have any problem, is that we have a group of retired people who work in Croatian conservation for cultural heritage institution. And so they have a, how to say, as a pensioners, they have a time. So every weekend or every week, they gather together and then they, think what we are doing and what you are doing. So we were under the, how to say, this is not, they gave all the time all kind of thinking and, oh, this is good, oh no, this is not good. So you see, people were involved. We didn't really ask for that, but that happened. And that was at the end excellent, because a lot of things you can communicate that way.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions to Jurica? Okay, if no, then I will say thank you very much, Jurica, for the great explanation, for presentation. And I will give the floor to the next speaker, Andrej Verlic, who is already here with us, asking the questions from JP Vokas Naga about the good practice integrating nature conservation into urban parks, lessons from Ljubljana. So please, Andrej, you can share the screen and the floor is yours.
Thank you. I think I clicked share the screen,
yes.
But do you see the projection?
We see the presentation as it needs to be. Very good. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So you see just one slide and that's it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for all the people that are still staying here after the whole day of really good and interesting experiences shared from all over the place of the consortia. I really enjoyed the presentations. I could find quite a lot of common things with what colleagues have done. And now just in let's say a couple of pictures, more or less, I would like to share our experience. I'm talking about a special green place, let's call it the heart and lungs of the capital city of Slovenia, that's Ljubljana. I'm talking about the 460 hectares big nature park that is so diverse in nature-wise and covered almost 70% as forest, and also a kind of reflects the cultural identity of the rich history of Ljubljana. Right at the beginning, I have to say that this is not a project from a couple of years, but it is actually an effort of generations of people. It started with a smaller park, Tivoli, in the late 19th century. So a park is, let's say, the beginning of this park, the city park, is more than 200 years old. But the protected area itself just celebrated its 40th anniversary. So it was protected by nature conservation legislation in 1984. It is actually quite a remarkable landmark and green oasis, which was quite evident in the period that was mentioned by a lot of you in 2020, where primary focus in last decades is on preserving nature, cultural heritage, and landscape, while simultaneously offering opportunities for environmentally friendly forms of recreation. Here we have approximately 15 kilometers of public maintained trails in forests and plus in the city park, which is part of the bigger landscape park, the city park Tivoli. In, I think, 2009, a study has been done which kind of assessed that almost 2 million visitors come to this park yearly. And the count that we count by our invisible counters confirmed that this number could be even higher now, especially after the COVID period. What is, let's say, one of the challenges for managing this area is also not just the landscape diversity, but also the ownership diversity. What you see in yellow here, first, the dark blue color are the boundaries of the park, the landscape park. And what is yellow is the land owned by the city. All the rest is privately owned land. So majority of the land is privately owned. And if we look just at the forest part, it's owned more than 60% by private forest owners. And there is about 420 different forest owners. In these pictures, you just see different kind of polygons, which indicate where we have populations of different species that are that are protected by various forms. Some are also endangered, and as you see, practically all over the park, we have here and there at least some population that is worth preserving. And we are talking about this in a park, in the city park, that is used by so many people daily, that is basically on the doorstep of each citizen of Ljubljana. As a manager of this park regarding nature conservation, we are also in charge of collecting and managing data on endangered, rare, and protected species. And in this, are there any questions? I can hear somebody speaking in the background. Okay, I guess not. I won't go through the whole data, but let's say that since the year 2000, we have about 3,000 different living organisms recorded and found and recorded in this area. But of course, this area has been, like I said in the beginning, 200 years, a city park dedicated to recreation and leisure as green infrastructure, the term we use today, or public green space for so long. And it's very important as such. For example, the biggest part of the landscape park lies within the quarter of the city that has more than 35,000 inhabitants living in, let's say, 7 square kilometers. So how to see not just the picture of people or the picture of protected animals, but to put it all together to coexist. So to use this area, this nature protected area, as a place of recreation, to having our leisure time spent here, and on the other hand, protect or even improve the biodiversity and nature values that we have here. The management unit started in 2018, and it's now, let's say, we are 3 people employed here, and we perform different conservation, expert, supervisory, and management tasks. So this is not just another city park. It's, like I said, protected by Nature Conservation Act, which gives the state more legal power also to protect it from being, let's say, built, or to guide sectoral plans, such as forest management plans, to adopt silvicultural and protection measures, especially to maintain the registered natural values and biodiversity in favorable state. This means we sometimes have to use heavy machinery also. So nature conservation is not just talking nicely and let's say petting the plants or showing nice photographs of animals, but sometimes we have to do quite serious measure to restore, let's say, some meadows, for example, like you see in this picture, that were in non-favorable state. Here in the bottom left picture, you can see that we are putting, for example, one trunk of tree that was previously in the Tivoli City Park and had to be cut in the end after years of preserving because it was too dangerous for the visitors. But we moved the trunk to an opening in the forest in a place that could be favorable also regarding the, let's say, climate conditions for aramid beetle. Of course, with having 420 different forest owners here, we cannot do anything without working together with private landowners. They are the ones that basically work with this land even before it was protected according to Nature Conservation Act. So they were doing really great work, and we would like to keep it that way. And we managed to do quite a lot of measures in the field that address different aspects, not just nature conservation aspects, but also cultural conservation aspects, and also improve the conditions for recreation, for example. In 6 years, we had about more than 3,500 participants in different education programs, and we produce more than 200 informational and educational posts on Facebook, website, and Instagram, let's say, per year, where we have about 4,000 followers that then spread our information further. We communicate to achieve this not just with, let's say, lay public, but also different professionals, researchers, and so on. And of course, one of the most important target groups are children. So our nature wardens, let's say, our rangers are very skilled in interpretation of natural heritage and also in forest pedagogy, which we saw that are quite strong tools to empower young people to protect nature and to be aware of our impacts on nature and how to use it, let's say, sustainably. It is always important to be part of different networks. Networking like this one today, for example, where we can share our best practice, learn from best practices from you and from others. And in this way, we can all be stronger and implement and monitor the best measures to protect nature, and at the same time provide quality opportunities for recreation and, let's say, make a Yes, somebody is commenting. Okay. Give the opportunities also to the landowners to manage their forest, for example, because this is not a forest reserve, it's managed forest, but they have some special regimes that they need to apply, and that's why it's important to collaborate with them. But sometimes just kind words are not enough, and that's why we also have, let's say, ranger service that is well supported by a GIS system where we, say, follow all cases that we encounter. Those cases could be from, let's say, finding some big amount of litter in the nature, or let's say damaged infrastructure, and not let's say it's not not often the case, but also illegal buildings, let's say, that happen in the park. We cooperate very nice with other repressive organs like the police and so on. Of course, there are some potential threats to keeping this knot together, so to keep our steer on the protection goals. And some of them can be seen from this picture. I don't know how well you see this plot below from our counters, and you can see the big peak here of the visits, where we saw that during the 15 March and May 2020, so the beginning of the COVID period, the visit of the park jumped by 2.5 times in average, and it dropped a little bit, but it is not on the level, let's say, of pre-COVID times, because people have learned even more why they need to let's say move or spend time in the open air in the natural environment. Doing so, for example, Ljubljana has 25,000 registered dogs, for example. And these owners of dogs sometimes are not very, let's say, aware of why not having dog on the lead and just letting him roam around is not appropriate, not just to other visitors and other dogs, but also to wildlife in the park. Having a protected area also means, like I mentioned a couple of times during the presentation, some special regimes in managing the forest. This has also resulted in a really good share of deadwood that we have in the forest. In the last inventory, the data is not official yet, but there is more than 30% of the biomass that is deadwood. Of course, we could have more standing dead trees, but this is quite a challenge, taking into account the quite dense network of trails, because, like I said, we also have to preserve this place as a place for recreation for the citizens of Ljubljana. Many of you have mentioned the impact of this is also a lot of deadwood, and this material could also be a challenge with forest fires. We had quite a lot of them in the past years, but luckily Slovenia has a lot of firefighters, and also Ljubljana, and all these fires were put out almost instantly. But we might not be lucky each time. One of the pressures is coming, let's say, also from the western part of the world. This is organization of big public events like concerts or sport events and things like that. And we have quite heated public debate whether this is suitable for a public park or not. But many other countries has had this debate over past decades, and we could learn on that practice. And nevertheless, that we managed to preserve the boundaries in this last 40 years of the park, which is quite an achievement. There is a lot of pressure for building new houses, prestigious houses, just on the border of the park. And then we have the pressure of these owners, let's say, demanding the removal of forest edge because it's endangering their property and so on. So the pressures are various. Since I had the last presentation, I will stop here to save some time on the discussion, if possible. Thank you for your time and listening.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Andrei. So, yeah, right now, together with the questions to Andrei, first maybe the questions to Andrei, but if some of the participants still have questions to other speakers who might still be here, please also, well, this is the part where we can, let's say, have a discussion and ask the questions. So please, Irina, I see that you have raised the hand. Please go ahead and ask a question.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Irina Zupan from Zagreb City Nature. We are protected area managers for the area of city of Zagreb. So among others, we are managing Maksimir Park, which shares a lot of similarities with Tivoli. So the current presentation, Andrei presentations were really interesting for us. We have tons of questions, among others. You are the public legal entity or private one?
We are a public utility, for the management also of the water, drinking water, waste management, and so on. So we work as this management as a concessionaire to the city. We have a concession.
So delegated management then.
Yes.
Okay, great. Nevertheless, we are really interested in sharing your experience more in depth. Is it possible to, after this, just not to bother everybody else too much, is it possible to contact you and to try to arrange for us to come to Ljubljana? We are really close. One day of field visit will do a lot of good for us, for sharing a lot of experience with you, because we have very similar situation. Similar number of people, similar surface, diverse ownership, vandalism. So a lot of similar situations.
It will be beneficial for both. So
great. Then we will contact organizers and then contact you when we receive your email or something. We will stay in touch definitely and try to arrange something. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And well, Andrei can also share the email in the chat, and you can contact directly also. So that is also an opportunity, I think. Okay, other speakers, questions? Okay, if not, then I have one question, and actually it is for both of previous speakers, for Andrei and also for Jurica. Hopefully, Jurica, you're still here. About the visitor counters. So You both of you had good practices which were related to counting the visitors of the green infrastructure elements, and I'm interested. Are these, let's say, the patterns that we might assume that this biggest load is on holidays, on let's say in summertime, or can you comment what is when is, let's say, the biggest load on this green infrastructure if we take like the 24 hours around the clock, maybe weekly, let's say, framework, and also the seasonal, which is yearly. So please. Who would like to go first, Andrei, and maybe then
Jurica, if it's okay, I can just start. Maybe you will have similar data. I think it's just confirming what has been known for decades. For example, I'm talking about the pattern of the use of let's say urban and peri-urban parks compared to other nature areas that are more remote from the city. So people are using this area mainly for daily recreation, of course. They're using it also in the time after the sunset, for example, or before the sunrise. So it's basically used 24 hours per day. Which is again challenge for some biodiversity and for safety and so on. Let's say if I'm talking about the seasons, the least visited part of the year would be, what would you say, Yanis?
I would say winter probably is
it's more summer actually, but it's
more
not,
summer. Okay.
Yes. The biggest, I mean, the most visited is this area in the spring and in the fall, because during the summer it's either too hot, but people can go cool down in the park, but most of the people have vacation during that time, and since we live in different times that, let's say, 50 or 80 years ago, a lot of people leave the city and go to other places. And it is not that much visited, at least the forest part, by tourists during the summer.
Okay, thank you very much. Very nice to know. Jurica, what is your perspective?
Well, we have these encounters for few years. So it's during the pandemic time, the numbers were quite big, especially in Savica area, for example. But I would say that the biggest number of people in Maksimir in a day is usually around the 1st of May, the Labor Day, because traditionally trade unions have organized 50, 60, I don't know how many years ago, and they started. So it's kind of tradition in Maksimir. Probably the public institution is not too happy with 100 or 200,000 people in the park at the same time. But what can you do? It's tradition. I think that these numbers can vary, and from this, what I saw usually is connected with the good weather. But the biggest number of the people in the park and probably in the zoo, it's something that you can compare, is in the spring and autumn. In the winter, it depends. It can be very busy, but it depends on weather. And of course, in the summer, you have tourists. We have a lot of visitors from Slovenia. Thank you, but most of the people will probably go to the sea, to the other places of destination. No? So it depends, but after all, 2.5 million people is quite enough. I think it's on the number which it will not be good if start to climb much more than that. If we talk about the park.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you very much for the answers. This just shows that it is actually a lot of factors that needs to be considered, and tradition has a huge influence on the pressure on the green infrastructure. And well, yeah, it is also I really like this idea of counting the visitors and when they are, because what can be measured can be managed, right? And afterwards you are applying the measures that can be, let's say, implemented to balance these interests of of humans and also the rest of the ecosystems. So thank you very much for the answers. Are there any more questions for any of the speakers from the audience? Okay, then it looks like we can close this discussion part. And now I will give the floor to the Encarnio Nieto Zas from Instituto de Estudos do Territorio to say concluding words of this seminar. So she is also representing the lead partner of this Interreg Europe GIFT project. So please, Encarna. Encarna, are you here?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear, yes.
Hello, everyone. Only a few words before finish the second thematic seminar in GIFT project. First of all, I would like to thank you all for being here today to University of Latvia as event organizer, Yanis, Sane, to Professor Ivo, and especially the stakeholders who so kindly joined us. I hope you found it interesting. In my opinion, this seminar has been very informative with very nice presentation, both in terms of GIFT projects and in terms of dissemination knowledge between the different regions involved. The good practice we have learned today can be used in other regions to improve green infrastructures in areas with trees play a key role. These include the Swedish boxes that encourage beetles as well other many organisms together in social housing, and the city park projects of Leipzig, Zagreb, Ljubljana. Also, it's important to see the involvement of community members and individuals in these practices, which are the result of coordinated efforts. Examples of these are the practices of Montes de Causo community, Friesland, Rimini, most of them. These practices involve the community for the benefits of society and nature and for the future. The Belgian good practice is also interesting for its usefulness in the design and monitoring of green infrastructures, since what cannot be measured cannot be improved, and we cannot be improved always degrades. It would be beneficial if we could all apply it in our regions. We can learn about all the projects you share today because all of them have a hard work inside. Finally, I would like to conclude with a sentence in line with the good practice we have seen today. Bill McKibben says, the technology we need most is community technology, the knowledge of how to work together to get things done. It resonates with the principles of collaboration and cooperation that underpin effective green infrastructures design and monitoring. That's all for my side. Thank you for sharing and have a nice day.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Encarna, for the concluding words. And last remarks from me. Also, thank you to all the speakers, first of all. Secondly, thank you to all the participants who found the time to spend with us basically the whole day. We started when the light was out there, and now it's getting we are actually 1 hour ahead than the most of the partners because of the Central European time. And Andrei, do you also want to add something? Yeah, you raised hand, I see.
Sorry, just a mistake.
A mistake, okay, no problem.
Sorry.
So thank you to everybody who found the time to attend. I think it was very valuable experience for everybody, and as this recording is as this meeting is being recorded, it will be at the end we have consent from all the registered participants, including the speakers, so that therefore there should not be any problem in having this published. So there is another a thematic seminar planned within the framework of the Interreg Europe Gift project. It is planned to be organized on the 24th and 25th of September. And at this point, within the framework of GIFT, it is on-site event, but probably we will also make a chance to join online. Yeah, so stay tuned for the GIFT news, follow our project, and it was my pleasure to be also here, spend the day with you, and to also to learn from you. And I think this is the value of this GIFT project, that we are nine project partners plus the 10, which is the advisory partner, which I am representing. And so if we all have similar problems, each one of us come with one solution, and from today we can each of the partner can walk away with 9 potential solutions and share let's say the knowledge. And I'm very happy to hear that this meeting is inspiring action, that colleagues from Slovenia will be traveling to Croatia, to Zagreb, and exchanging experiences related to green infrastructure. Because I strongly, I am also the economist, but I strongly believe that environmental dimension is the most important one, and it needs to be preserved properly. So thank you very much for being with us a whole day, and have a nice rest of the day and rest of the week, and actually rest of the year. So keep in touch, and all the best for all of you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye all.
Bye.